exercising consistently, and still not burning body fat the way you should? If that sounds familiar, the problem may not be calories. It may not be motivation. It may not even be your workouts. The real issue could be insulin. Insulin is one of the most powerful hormones in the human body. Its main job is to help move glucose from the bloodstream into cells. That sounds helpful? And it is. But when insulin stays elevated too often, it sends another message behind the scenes. Store energy. Stop burning fat. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Think of insulin as a switch with two positions. In one position, your body stores fuel. In the other, it releases stored fuel and burns it for energy. When insulin is high all day from frequent snacking, refined carbs, sugary drinks, poor sleep, stress, or late night eating, that switch stays in storage mode. That means even if you eat less, even if you exercise more, your body may still resist using stored fat efficiently. Research continues to show that insulin strongly suppresses lipolysis, the process where fat cells release stored fat to be burned for fuel. When insulin signaling is chronically dysregulated, fat loss becomes harder, energy becomes less stable, and cravings often rise. This is why some people feel trapped. They blame themselves when the real issue is physiology. The good news? You do not need extreme dieting. You do not need to starve yourself, and you do not need to spend hours doing cardio. Sometimes the fastest path to fat burning is simply learning how to lower insulin at the right times. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through a simple insulin hack doctors often fail to explain clearly. We'll cover 6 science-based insights that can help your body shift back into fat-burning mode naturally. Let's start with the biggest misunderstanding in fat loss. Most people think body fat is just stored calories, but body fat is actually stored energy controlled by hormones, and insulin is the gatekeeper. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your body fat is money locked inside a savings account. You already have energy stored there. In some people, it may be thousands of calories, but insulin acts like the lock on that account. When insulin is elevated, the lock stays closed. So even if you reduce food intake, your body may struggle to access stored fat efficiently. That often leads to fatigue, cravings, irritability, and the feeling that your metabolism is broken. It's not broken. It's responding exactly the way physiology says it should. Insulin rises after eating, especially after meals high in refined carbohydrates or sugar. That's normal. The problem is when insulin rises frequently and stays elevated through the day from cereal breakfast, snacks, sweet coffee drinks, juice, crackers, granola bars, late-night desserts, and constant grazing. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Every time insulin rises, fat release from fat cells is suppressed. This process is known as inhibition of lipolysis. Your body then prioritizes burning incoming fuel instead of stored fuel. That means someone eating 6 times a day may rarely spend enough time in a lower insulin state to tap into body fat meaningfully. What the research shows is that chronically elevated insulin is strongly associated with obesity, metabolic syndrome, and reduced metabolic flexibility, the ability to switch between burning carbs and fat efficiently. So what is the simple hack? Create longer gaps between eating occasions, not starvation, not punishment. Just allow insulin to come down between meals. For many people, that means shifting from random snacking all day to 3 structured meals, no calories between meals, 4 to 5 hour gaps between meals, when possible water, black coffee, or unsweetened tea between meals if tolerated. This creates windows where insulin can fall and stored fat becomes available again. Think of it as finally unlocking the savings account. A. Practical starter protocol. Breakfast at 8 a.m., lunch at 1 p.m., dinner at 6 p.m., no snacks after dinner. That one change alone can transform cravings and energy for many people within days. Your first meal of the day, because the way you begin the morning often determines your hunger, cravings, and blood sugar stability for the next 10 to 12 hours. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your metabolism like a thermostat. If you start the day with a high sugar, low protein breakfast, it can create a sharp rise in glucose, followed by a strong insulin response. For many people, that is followed by an energy dip a few hours later. Then what happens? You feel hungry again. You reach for coffee, snacks, toast, cereal bars, or something quick. Insulin rises again. Then it repeats. This is how people become trapped in the cycle of I'm hungry all day. Here's what's really going on inside your body. A breakfast heavy in refined carbohydrates can create unstable energy signals in susceptible individuals, especially those with insulin resistance, but a breakfast centered on protein, fiber, and healthy fats tends to digest more slowly and support steadier glucose control. That means fewer cravings, better focus, and less snacking pressure later. So the insulin hack here is simple. Front-load protein early in the day. Aim for 25 to 40 grams of protein at your first meal if possible. Examples: eggs with spinach and avocado, Greek yogurt with chia seeds and berries, cottage cheese with nuts, chicken and vegetables protein smoothie with unsweetened ingredients if you are not hungry in the morning. You do not have to force breakfast. Some people do well delaying the first meal, but when you do eat, make it count. What you want to avoid is the classic dessert breakfast pattern: sugary cereal, pastries, sweet coffee, drinks, toast with jam juice alone. Those foods often digest quickly and may lead to rebound hunger. A practical protocol. Option 1. Hungry in the morning, eat a protein-rich breakfast within 1 to 2 hours of waking. Option 2. Not hungry, hydrate, move your body, delay eating until true hunger appears, then make the first meal protein-based. This teaches your body to rely less on constant glucose intake and more on stable energy production. And there's another factor doctors often underestimate. Even a perfect diet can struggle if your sleep is poor, because one bad night can push insulin in the wrong direction the next day. Poor sleep. Many people focus on carbs, calories, and exercise, but ignore the one factor that can raise hunger, worsen cravings, increase insulin resistance, and slow fat loss in less than 24 hours: sleep. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your body as a factory run by a night shift crew. While you sleep, your system repairs tissues, balances hormones, resets appetite signals, and improves insulin sensitivity. When sleep is short or fragmented, that night crew never finishes the job. So the next morning, the factory runs inefficiently. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Even partial sleep deprivation has been shown to reduce insulin sensitivity, meaning your body may need more insulin to handle the same meal. At the same time, sleep loss can raise cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, and cortisol has a complicated relationship with blood sugar. When cortisol rises chronically, the liver may release more glucose into the bloodstream, then insulin rises to manage it. This creates a pattern where stress and poor sleep indirectly keep fat burning suppressed. What the research shows is that insufficient sleep is associated with higher risk of weight gain, type 2 diabetes, and impaired glucose regulation. This is why someone can eat perfectly and still feel stuck. They're trying to fix a hormonal problem with willpower. So here is the insulin hack. Protect sleep like it is part of your nutrition plan. Because it is. Practical protocol. Aim for 7.5 to 9 hours in bed. Consistently keep a regular sleep and wake time. Stop heavy meals 2 to 3 hours before bed. Reduce bright screens 60 minutes before sleep. Keep the bedroom cool and dark. Limit caffeine after early afternoon. Get morning sunlight within 30 minutes of waking. Morning light helps regulate circadian rhythm, which supports cortisol timing and nighttime melatonin production. Another powerful tip: if your mind races at night, try a short walk after dinner, light stretching, journaling, or magnesium glycinate if appropriate for you. Better sleep often means lower cravings, better fasting glucose, less snacking pressure, easier fat loss, better mood and focus, and many people notice this within 1 week. Walk after meals, not run, not intense cardio, not exhausting workouts, just walk. This may sound too simple to matter, but physiologically, it can be incredibly powerful. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine glucose from a meal enters your bloodstream like cars entering a busy highway. If traffic builds too quickly, insulin has to act like emergency traffic control to clear the road. But when you walk after eating, your muscles open additional lanes. Working muscles can take up glucose more efficiently, helping reduce the amount of insulin needed to manage that meal. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Skeletal muscle is one of the largest glucose disposal organs in the body. When muscles contract, they increase glucose uptake through pathways that are partly independent of insulin. That means movement can help lower post-meal blood sugar, even without needing a massive hormonal response. What the research shows is that brief walking after meals can improve postprandial glucose control and metabolic markers, especially in people with insulin resistance or impaired glucose tolerance. This is one reason some cultures naturally walk after dinner and often see digestive and metabolic benefits. So the hack is simple: use movement immediately after meals to reduce the insulin burden. Practical protocol: walk 10 minutes after lunch, walk 10 minutes after dinner if possible. Walk after your largest meal first. Easy pace is enough. You should still be able to talk. No treadmill required. You can walk around the block, walk indoors, walk while taking calls, walk in a mall or hallway, pace around your home, even standing, and light movement can help. If walking is not possible, This strategy is especially useful for people who feel sleepy after meals, those with belly fat, prediabetes, or insulin resistance, evening cravings, sedentary workers. And here is an important mindset shift. You do not need to earn food with exercise. You are using movement as a metabolic tool. That is very different. A smart daily routine could look like this: protein-based breakfast or delayed first meal, structured lunch, 10-minute walk after lunch, early dinner, 10-minute walk after dinner, no late night snacks, simple habits, powerful hormonal results. Now let's talk about food quality, because not all calories create the same hormonal response. If your goal is faster fat burning, stable energy, and fewer cravings, the smartest strategy is not just eating less, it is eating foods that require less insulin while creating more satiety. That combination changes everything. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine two fires. One is built with dry logs that burn slowly and steadily. The other is built with paper that flares up fast and burns out quickly. Many ultra-processed carbohydrates act like paper. They digest rapidly, spike glucose faster, trigger a stronger insulin response, and often leave you hungry again soon. Whole foods rich in protein, fiber, and natural fats act more like logs. They burn slower, support steadier energy, and help you stay satisfied longer. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Protein generally stimulates satiety hormones and helps preserve lean muscle during fat loss. Fiber slows digestion and can reduce rapid glucose absorption. Healthy fats slow gastric emptying and help meals feel satisfying. This often means lower snacking frequency, which means fewer insulin spikes across the day. What the research shows is that higher protein diets and minimally processed food patterns often improve body composition, appetite control, and glucose regulation compared with ultra-processed dietary patterns. So the insulin hack here is: build meals around protein first, plants second, smart fats third, starches strategically. A simple plate model: half plate, non-starchy vegetables, quarter plate, protein, quarter plate, starch if needed based on goals/activity, add healthy fats for satisfaction, best protein choices, eggs, fish, chicken, turkey, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, lean beef, tofu, or tempeh, best fiber-rich foods, leafy greens, broccoli, cauliflower, cucumbers, peppers, berries, chia seeds, lentils, portion based on tolerance, healthy fats, avocado, olive oil, nuts, seeds, olives, foods that often drive repeated hunger. In many people, sugary drinks, pastries, white bread, candy, sweetened cereals, chips, eaten alone. Practical protocol: at every meal ask, where is my protein? Where is my fiber? Is this meal satisfying enough to prevent snacking? That one checklist can transform insulin patterns. And remember, fat loss becomes easier when hunger becomes quieter. Your evening routine: many people eat well all day, then unknowingly sabotage fat burning at night. Late dinners, constant grazing after sunset, desserts while watching TV, sweet drinks, and poor sleep timing can keep insulin elevated deep into the evening when your body should be transitioning into repair and recovery mode. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your metabolism like a restaurant kitchen. During the day, the kitchen is open. Food comes in, staff are active, energy demand is higher, movement is greater. At night, the kitchen should begin closing. Cleaning starts, repairs happen, systems reset. But if orders keep arriving, at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight, the kitchen never shuts down. That is what repeated late-night eating can do metabolically. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Humans tend to handle glucose better earlier in the day than late at night. Insulin sensitivity often declines in the evening, meaning the same meal may require more insulin later than it would earlier. Late eating may also disrupt sleep quality, reflux symptoms, and appetite signals the next day. What the research shows is that meal timing aligned with circadian rhythms may support better glucose control, weight regulation, and metabolic health. So the insulin hack is simple: close the kitchen earlier. Practical protocol: finish dinner 3 to 4 hours before bed. When possible, make dinner protein-centered with vegetables. Keep desserts occasional, not nightly defaults. Replace late snacks with tea, sparkling water, or a walk. Create a consistent last bite time. For example, dinner at 6:30 p.m., light walk at 7 p.m., kitchen closed by 7:30 p.m., screens reduce later sleep by 10:30 p.m. That creates a long overnight window where insulin can stay lower and your body can shift towards stored energy use. This does not mean perfection. If you have a social event or late meal, simply return to rhythm the next day. Consistency beats extremes. Another key point: many people mistake nighttime boredom, stress, or habit for hunger. Before eating late, ask yourself, am I truly hungry? Am I tired? Am I stressed? Am I just conditioned to snack now? That pause alone can save hundreds of unnecessary calories and repeated insulin spikes each week. Your body loves rhythm. Consistent meals, consistent light exposure, consistent sleep, consistent fasting overnight. When rhythm improves, hormones often improve. If fat loss has felt harder than it should, the answer may not be that you need more discipline. It may be that no one explained the hormone controlling access to stored body fat, insulin. When insulin stays elevated too often, your body receives the message to store energy and slow fat release. But when insulin comes down appropriately between meals and overnight, your body becomes more able to tap into stored fuel. That is the real shift. Today we covered 6 practical ways to support that process. Stop constant snacking and create meal gaps. Start your day with protein or delay eating until true hunger. Protect sleep to improve insulin sensitivity. Walk for 10 minutes after meals. Build meals around protein, fiber, and whole foods. Finish eating earlier and reduce late-night grazing. None of these require extreme dieting. None require punishing workouts. None require magic supplements. They require understanding physiology and working with your body instead of against it. Here's what I recommend. Choose one habit today, not 6, just one. Maybe it's no snacks between meals. Maybe it's a protein breakfast. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk after dinner. Maybe it's closing the kitchen earlier tonight. Then track how your body responds for 7 days. Hunger levels, energy, cravings, sleep, waistline, mood, consistency. Because when insulin improves, many things improve. More stable energy, clearer thinking, better fat burning, healthier aging, greater metabolic freedom. Your body is not confused. It is responding to signals. Change the signals, and the body often changes with them. If this video added value, like the video and subscribe to join others optimizing their health naturally with science-based strategies every week. And remember, small daily actions repeated consistently can create profound long-term health.